All right, I am going to give you guys a lesson, a whole bunch of secrets. This is great for lead guitar. It's also really good for rhythm guitar, and some of you singer-songwriters. And the reason that it's really good for that specific style is because it's actually lost on that style. When you guys are more focused on songwriting and just playing these chords, exercises and dexterity and strength isn't really the focus as much as it is on some of my lead guitar students. So that's why it tends to get lost. Now, those muscles will build naturally just by sitting down and playing. But when I'm teaching, what I try to do is take the amount of musculature and memory that you can have within a set amount of time and cut it down by focusing on the details. So let's get right into it. Some of you lead guitar players are probably already doing these exercises, but something nice and simple. Just going up here to the 5th fret, and you're just going to give me 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th with each one of your fingers. Now, I want you to leave your fingers down. What we don't want to do is this. Have your fingers jumping up for each one of those frets. That is a horrible habit to get into. So leave your fingers down. Now, it is difficult to press down and spread your fingers out like that. So if you need to, you can start moving them up to the next finger if you got to squeeze them down like that. And just go down the strings. Make sure each note comes through. Don't get any of this. Make sure you're hitting the right string and each one of those notes comes through nice and clear. Move up to the 6th fret. Do the same thing. Now, the more you guys do this, the more musculature you're going to build, but you're also building the dexterity and the independence in the fingers, which is awesome. Because when you're going from chord to chord, you do need that finger independence to be able to move quickly from one chord to another and not have them relying on each other. Because this G, if these two fingers are kind of relying on each other, you know what I mean, and you're moving to a C, it's not always going to work. So that's why finger independence is awesome. Let's also get into the strength part of it. That strength and that quickness by leaving your fingers down. So you're building the strength to be able to move with a little bit more speed because you'll have those muscles in there, but also leaving those fingers down. What we don't want to do is go back to neutral. And what I mean by neutral is if you're always kind of thinking like, oh, well, I'm only using my first finger, so these fingers are up. I'm only using my second finger, so these fingers are up. That mentality happens when you're playing chords. You'll play your G chord, and then you go back to here, and then you go to your D chord, and you go back to here, and then you go to your C chord, and that's not what we want to do. We want to keep everything close and do maximum efficiency and less motion. Now, once this becomes normal, you're building a little bit of speed. I want you guys to focus on your 3rd finger too. Your 3rd finger is a little bit weaker than the other 3. I just fold up a piece of paper and I put it under here, and that raises the action of the strings, makes it a little bit more difficult to play, and that's just going to build even more muscle. So when that becomes comfortable, when it doesn't hurt, all right, we want to make sure that nothing hurts, especially in your wrists, all right? And once those muscles start getting trained, this is a great exercise to just go up and down, and you're just building that strength over and over. Now, the secret, the thing that I do not give away, that I don't always tell people is, as you're doing these exercises, there's 2 muscles that are happening that we want to focus on. And that is, if you're going from here and you're lifting your fingers up and they're popping way up, and you don't have the control to keep everything close and everything kind of tight, is another muscle. This is great to counter the muscles that we're doing here. All right, it's a little bit of a counter strength. It also will help with any wrist tension. All right, and it's a muscle that almost no guitar players, more advanced guitar players focus on. That is, I just take a hair tie and put it around your fingers like this and just spread open and close like that. All right? It's the opposite motion, but that muscle also needs to be controlled. Not just the closing in muscle, but every time you release, you want that muscle to be as toned up and as ready to handle the workload of open and then shut, chord, open, shut, next chord, right? And having that kind of control. So just doing a few of these as you're doing your exercises. You guys don't have to do this like for 20 minutes a day, especially if you're not trying to be a lead guitar player. It's just that once you sit down with your guitar, if you're saying like I have an open mic that I want to get to, if I have like a showcase that I want to do, building these muscles very, very quickly is going to be incredibly effective to getting you to play amazingly within a very short period of time. And then you lead guitar players can take these exercises and go a little bit forward with them. I recommend doing them with a metronome and seeing how fast you can get without skipping, without kind of getting those missed notes. All right, I love it. Let me know how you guys feel about it, and I will see you tomorrow.